Tommy, I am so excited because what are we doing today?
Another episode of Dude, I Love or Hate My Ride Home Edition.
We're quarantined, so we asked you guys to submit your videos of your trucks, and oh my gosh, do we get a lot of submissions. And today we have a very special show because we're comparing the three big American brands.
That's right, this is going to be a really fun one. We've got 3 HD trucks, all of them dualies, one from Ford, one from Ram, and one from Chevrolet. And this is a question we get all the time. What is the longest lasting HD truck? Well, we're letting you guys answer that question through some viewer submissions.
Yep, the first one comes from Alex, otherwise known as Tow Piglet. He's got his own YouTube channel. He's a hotshot trucker, but somehow he submitted a brand new truck. I am confused, Tommy.
Yeah, this is a 2020 F350, but you're gonna be astonished by the mileage on this brand new truck. And that's because he tows across country every single day for a living. So he tows heavy weights constantly. Let's see how the truck is hold up.
Yeah, let's cut to the chase. Let's see what Alex has presented us with.
Hey TFL truck, my name's Alex and you can see it right there behind me. I'm driving the 2020 Ford F350 Super Duty. Now I realize TFL has done many videos about the 2020 model year Ford. However, this one is special. I picked it up brand new with like 100 miles on it on the odometer, and look how many we have right now. That is correct, 62,000 miles and some change. And so I think this is probably one of the highest mileage Ford F350s with the Power Stroke diesel and with the 10-speed transmission. I think this is one of the highest mileage trucks in the United States, possibly the world. So in this video, really quickly, I want to give you 2 things where I think Ford absolutely knocked it out of the park. I'm going to give you 3 things where they desperately need to improve. The first thing on the list is absolutely the engine and the power this thing puts out. Now, this is my first 6.7 Power Stroke. However, the truck I had before was a Cummins, so that's what I'm comparing it to. But I have yet to feel like this thing is underpowered. This thing is absolutely putting down some amazing numbers, and it just does not get old. Pulling up the mountains with my trailer, as you can see I have it right now. I'm in Arizona. This thing has no issues at all going up and down hills. And along with the power, I'm gonna say tuning also. They did a fantastic job. I don't know who did the tuning for the engine and the transmission, but this thing is consistently, when I'm in tow haul mode, pulling my trailer, consistently in the right gear and just really putting down good numbers, and without skipping a beat, shifting at the right places. Very, very, very happy with the performance and the tuning on this truck. All right, so that was the first thing I liked. So the second thing I like is the MPG. I have no idea how they did it, but this thing gets some of the best fuel economy out there right now. I think it's the top. I think TFL did a video where it's the top like MPG truck, right? And I feel it. Not only is fuel really cheap right now, I'm like very rarely filling up. And the Ram I had right before this, night and day. I kid you not, this truck is absolutely phenomenal when it comes to MPG. Even a load like this, I'm still getting 10, 11 miles to the gallon. Okay, so that was the 2 things that I really like about this truck, is the power along with the tuning, but the MPG, right? So kind of 3 things basically. But moving on, what I don't like. And Ford desperately needs to fix their engine brake. And I know the Ram and the Cummins, they have the exhaust brake. I really wish this thing slowed you down like on the hills a little bit more than it does. It can get you up the hill really easily, but it needs a little more help coming down or slowing down the hill. So that's the first thing I would want Ford to change, is give me a better engine brake, or also throw in a different turbo that has an exhaust brake as well. Moving on to the second thing that Ford desperately needs to change about this 2020 truck is the headlights. Now, I realize these are halogen bulbs, and so their output is not great. However, the dual lenses, or how both lights come on, that is something that needs to be changed. They need to add that as an option into the stereo so you could turn it on or off, because what happens is when I pull a trailer like I am now, I'm loaded, the truck squats, and what happens is my lights point a little higher, and then people are consistently flashing their high beams at me thinking that I have my high beams on, and obviously I do not. That's just how Ford is. So I wish they made it so that you can turn one of them off. in the options, in the settings on the screen. Ford desperately needs to change that. I actually wish they would put the LED lights, because they do have really nice LED lights. I wish they would put them on all their trucks. This way that would probably drive the cost of them down, and so then it would actually make more sense that all the trucks, all Ford trucks would come with nice lights. I really wish they did that. So really thumbs down on the headlights for this truck. And the last and final third quick thing that I absolutely think Ford needs to change is right here inside, and that's the seat. This seat right here. When I first got this truck, I kid you not, it took a solid 30,000 miles just to break in this seat so that it has a little bit, like, it was just a flat seat before, and so now finally there's a little bit of an indent where where my bottom is usually. So this thing is really hard, really stiff. The foam, I'm not sure what they use, but when you will get the new truck with the fabric seats, it will be hard to sit on. I had a little bit of pain in my bottom, in my legs, because this thing is not very comfortable. So I'm not sure, I'm not saying it's much better now. It's not. It's still kind of uncomfortable because I think they don't use enough foam. I would want some more bolstering and cushion as well. So that's probably something they could include, and I don't think the higher trim leather seats are much better either. So really, I wish they would redesign this seat and make them a little bit more comfortable. Now, as much as I do like this drivetrain, it is a concern of mine. I am not so sure this truck can reach 300,000 miles without having to lift the cab off. For example, my truck that I had before, it was the Ram with the Cummins, and I had 300,000 miles, no problem on it. You can hit 300,000 miles absolutely with no issues. So with this truck, I don't know if that'll be the case. And as much as I'd want to find out the long-term reliability, unfortunately, I will not, because this is an enterprise rental. And so I will be turning it in soon. Well, that's going to do it for this super short, super quick 2020 Ford F-350. We'll call it high mileage review. And I have to get back on the road, obviously. My 30-minute break is up. But the reason I parked like this, by the way, is we're in the middle of April right now, and this rest area is actually closed for cars. It's only open for trucks. So that's why I parked like this. So I hope that's okay. But I thank you, TFL Truck. Folks, have a good day. Bye.
All right, Tommy, now it's time for my favorite part of this show, and that is Rate Your Ride, Alex. So Tommy, I think he nailed it spot on with what we've seen with the Ford, right? It has incredible amounts of power. But crappy lights.
He's absolutely right. The stock headlights on the F-350 are not very good, and the driver's seat isn't particularly comfortable. But let us know in the comment section below, is this the highest mileage 2020 F-350 out there? Because I think it might be.
All right, what do you give it from a 1 to 10 scale? 1 being total, I hate my ride, and 10 being I love my ride.
I'm really impressed with what Ford has done with the 2020 Super Duties. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I like that it's a base model truck he's using, not some crazy high-end model. And for a hotshot trucker, it could be a great option.
Yeah, well, he found 3 things he didn't like about it, so 3 points subtracted from 10, and I'm gonna give it a 7.
There you go. So Alex, keep us in the loop what you end up with next.
All right, Tommy, now it's time for all of you Ram, or should I say Dodge fans, because our next dually heavy duty is, well, a little bit older and a little bit more used. Tell me about this truck.
This is Ben's truck. He's from Canada. Obviously a completely different era than the F-350 we just looked at. This is a 3500 Ram dually with a straight 6 Cummins.
All right, roll that video. Let's see what Ben has done to his truck, and let's see how many miles this one has.
Hey TFL Truck, my name is Ben. I'm from Vancouver, and I'm going to do a bit of a walk around on my 96 Dodge Ram 3500. This truck is a project, and if you get one of these, expect it to be a project, because I've heard it said that that the 12 valve is a 1,000,000-mile engine in a 50,000 mile truck, and I think that might be overstating it a bit, but this one has 250,000 miles on it, and it definitely is showing its age. A lot of stuff is needed to be replaced, and there's a lot of finicky little things that have to get worked on. But the nice thing about these trucks right now is that they're very cheap. I paid $3,900 Canadian for this thing, and for a basically rust-free diesel truck, that, especially a 1-ton, that is not something that you're seeing very much. I mean, the new stuff these days has gotten just unbelievably expensive. So I decided to go with an older truck and then modify and, make it the way I actually want it. So it's got a 3-inch lift on it, 37-inch tires. I've put air lockers front and rear, and 411 ring and pinions. It's got compound turbos and a whole host of engine and fueling upgrades. I've rebuilt the transmission with a kit that's rated for 650 horsepower at the wheels. As you can see, I'm in the middle of putting amp steps on it, but I'm just going to go through and talk about a few common issues with these trucks and what to expect if you were to get one. So for me, I was very much looking to get a project truck, and this thing is definitely that. I got it very cheap, like I said, but it also required quite a bit of money to be put into it just to make it, back to the status quo. So a really common, well-documented issue with these trucks is steering and front end stuff. It came stock with a set of unit bearings, which are expensive and wear out often if you have 37-inch tires. And then with the engine that's somewhere between 900 and 1100 pounds, it's very hard on front end components. So I have gone ahead and put a free spin hub kit on this, and then I've also put a set of Dynatrac ball joints, which are designed to basically last forever, and then a different steering linkage kit, as well as an aftermarket steering gear. If you decide to get into modifying a diesel truck, especially one of these, one problem that you're going to run into immediately is the transmission. So this one, I bought a kit, like I was saying, that is designed to handle that sort of power. But you really have to factor that into the cost, especially if you're getting an automatic transmission. The standards are a lot beefier, and you just basically need to put a clutch in there, and they could probably handle as much power as I'm putting down. But with this being a single cab, I want my daughter to be able to sit in the middle without having the gear shifter hitting her in the knees, so an automatic was definitely mandatory for me. I've gone ahead and painted it with Raptor liner. I did it myself. There was a lot of dents I had to fix, but this stuff's very durable, and I think it kind of has a cool look. So for me, if I'm bouncing around out in the bush and some tree branches are scraping the side, it's nice to be able to not worry about paint. It's a little bit chippy. There's some chips coming out right here, but I think once I paint in the door jambs, that should help a lot. So the interior is about what you'd expect for a gross old truck. I actually pulled the carpet out. It was completely disgusting. And I put 2 layers of sound deadening, because these older trucks are incredibly noisy when you're driving them. My wife, when I first got it, wanted nothing to do with riding in here. It's got a big stereo that's in the works of being installed, but along with everything else on this truck, that is still very much a work in progress. But basically, one of these old trucks, they will keep on running as long as you can find one that's rust free. They're really, I think, a worthwhile project truck. And just wanted to say overall, thanks for watching. I do have a YouTube channel called 12 Valve Dually that I am actively putting out a lot of videos on and stuff like that. So feel free to come check that out. And overall, just want to say thanks a lot for watching. Take care.
All right, well, thank you, Ben, for submitting your cool, big-ass, big boy truck. What do you think of it, Tommy?
I think it's really cool. Now, it's obviously a project, but one that he loves and he's putting a lot of attention into. With the 37s on a dually and air lockers front and rear, this thing should just go anywhere. It really is a unique build. Now, it's not quite done, so I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10, but once this truck is fully completed, it's going to be a 10 out of 10 in my book.
I got to subtract 2 points. And that's because I'm not a big fan of bed lining the entire truck. I know that people like Line-X probably love that, but for me, once you do the whole thing, you can't undo it.
This is Raptor lined.
The people at Raptor Line must love it, but once you do it, you can't go back, so I'm not a huge fan of it. And I'm not a huge fan of when the tires stick out beyond the body. It's a kind of a bro look, but it does kind of work for this old Cummins, so I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
I don't think it's a bro look at all. Black on black with air lockers. This guy uses his truck like a truck is built to be used. Good job, Ben. Can't wait to see what it looks like when it's done.
Yeah, keep us in the loop. All right, Tommy, what do we got next?
Next up, we have an affordable truck from Quincy. This is an old Chevy K2500 from 1995. It's got a Detroit diesel in it, and it's got super high mileage.
Yeah, you know, this is for all you Chevy fans out there. I love the beginning of this video already because, well, first of all, it looks like he did some pretty cool conversions to it. I love that era of Chevy, and I'm wondering how many miles it has. Let's roll the video.
This is my 1995 Chevrolet K2500.
And it is the Silverado trim. So I've had this truck for several years now. I've put 100,000 miles on it, and it has a total of 330,000 miles on the odometer. It's the original engine and the original transmission, which some people will find surprising because this has the 6.5 liter Detroit diesel in it, which was not a well-built engine out of the factory. It had some flaws that needed to be taken care of. So I bought this for $1,200 back in 2014, and I took care of those flaws. So what I did was, you got to relocate the PMD, I redid the harmonic balancer, I gave it head studs because the head gaskets love to blow on these things. I ended up replacing the injection pump twice because the first time I did it, I forgot to replace the lift pump with the injection pump, and so unfortunately it went bad a second time. But now I got a brand new injection pump and lift pump on there. I converted it into a dually because I use this for a landscaping company, and I often have a lot of gravel in the back, so I needed a heavier payload capacity, which the dually really helps with. This is a fully functioning dump bed capable of handling up to 5,000 pounds. This dump bed is fully operational, and I use it in my landscaping business every day. Dump a little water out the back there. Like I said, I own a landscaping company, so I also usually tow a 5,000 pound trailer with it every day, which has my lawn mowers and everything on it. And this truck handles it just fine. It's not super fast, and the 6.5 liter engine was not made to be super powerful. It was made to get good fuel economy, which I amazingly still do. With 330,000 miles on this thing, I can get 18 miles per gallon pretty easily. So I really love this truck. It's held up fairly well over the years. You can see some signs of body decay over here. I do live in Vermont, which is why it's rusty. So we got some rust starting here. There's some rust on the bottom of the door there, and that cab corner's been replaced. The frame is pretty clean though, however, so that's held up pretty well, and the previous owner did undercoat it, which really helps. So I'll show you guys the interior now. It actually has automatic windows, automatic door locks, which still work surprisingly. These chairs in here are super comfortable. It does have a rip now from me sliding in and out of it, which I covered with a blanket, and then the blanket ripped through there. So apparently that's a big wear spot on these trucks. The interior is a little messy because it's a work truck, but it's still in fairly good shape. In here it's got an aftermarket radio, not because the original one broke, just because I wanted to be able to play my aux through it. This here is what I wired for the lift pump. So the lift pump on these things is controlled by the oil pressure sensor, and the oil pressure sensor on the truck went bad, so I just ended up bypassing the oil pressure sensor, and I just wired it straight into the relay. So this truck hates cold starts. I'll give you one now. It's about 35 degrees out. Let's light the glow plug cycle. So, as you can see, it doesn't like cold starts, but it still starts up fine. Here's the odometer. We've got 330,000 miles on it. So there you go. That is my 1995 Chevrolet K2500, which I absolutely love, and I plan on keeping it many more years. I want to get it to 500,000 miles on the original engine and transmission,
which I'm sure I'm going to be able to do.
Wow, that's a lot of miles, and he's going for 500,000 miles. So Tommy, what is your rating for this truck?
I love trucks over 300,000 miles because it just takes a lot of commitment from the owner to make that happen. I'm actually going to give this a 9 out of 10 because it's still being used and driven and worked every day, it looks like. So great job, Quincy, for keeping this old beast on the road. Love to see the work you've had to put into it because it's been a lot.
Yeah, Quincy, I got to give you an 11, and that's because I'm giving you an extra point for the electric bolt in the garage. There's something that's so cool about an old truck and a new electric car. Dude, you are a Renaissance man.
What do you guys think of these trucks? Let us know in the comments section below. And what did we learn? Well, we really have 3 very different trucks, but I think this video proves that with enough love and maintenance, each brand can go high mileage even with new trucks.
All right, Tommy, and what if they want to submit a video to us? How do they do that?
Well, I've got a little how-to coming up right now.
Hey, thank you for sending us your video here to TFL Studios so we can make it famous on Dude I Love My Ride Home Edition. Well, we noticed that a lot of people had some issues sending us files because emails are just not suitable for video. However, we do have a much better solution. It's a file service called WeTransfer, and WeTransfer is a way you can securely and safely and freely, we should say, send us your video files. That way the quality is better and there's no issues going down the road. So here's how you do it. If you're planning on using your cell phone to upload the files, like I think many of you will be, all you have to do is open up your browser, and this works both on Apple and Android, and type in tflstudios.wetransfer.com and then hit enter. Now it will take you to this page, and you'll see a big button that says send a file. Click that and then tap I agree, and it'll give you a plus arrow where you can actually add your files. Add up to 20 gigabytes. So click that. I'm going to say photo library, videos, and then I'm going to select my video and hit done. So there you can see your video is added. In the message section, please add your name and your truck. So in this case, it'll be Tommy Micah, and the truck or car or whatever lawnmower is 2020 Nissan Titan, just so we know what's coming our way. And then click next. And then you plug in your own personal email. And what it'll do is send you a verification just to make sure you're a real person and not a robot. And click transfer. So it says verify your email. Go ahead and check your email and you'll see a code. And then go ahead and plug in your verification code. Alright, and verify. So once you're verified, you'll see it will upload your file to the internet, and you can see it going there. And then it will send a verification that you have completed your transfer and that we have received it. Now you can actually do the same exact process on a computer. It's just as easy. Let me show you. Here on the computer, it's the same exact process. So simply type in tflstudios.wetransfer.com and hit enter. And then here you'll see a little bubble that says add your files. So click on the file you want to add. Then plug in your email address, your personal email address, and a message. Once again, your name and your vehicle. So it'll ask you to verify your email again, and then you'll be ready to go. And we'll get your files a little bit quicker. It'll be a little bit easier. Well, thank you so much for contributing. And if you have any questions, email me, ask@tfltruck.com, and we'll help you through them.
All right, Tommy, now we've done 2 episodes. One was with Forbidden Fruit and one was with these high mileage HD trucks. What's next? What's the next episode that we're looking at?
Well, let us know what you want to see in the comment section below. We have mid-sized trucks of all sorts of eras submitted. We have some SUVs, off-roaders, everything from 2-wheel drive to lifted 4-wheel drives. Let us know what you want to see and we'll post it below.
You know what I want to see, Tommy?
What?
This show's called Dude, I Love or Hate My Ride. I want to see videos that feature trucks that you guys hate. You know, because I'm really curious what makes you really dislike a truck. So if you haven't sent us a video of a truck that, well, let's say is not your favorite, let's say you'd like to kick it down the road, please do so and let us know why. And as always, this is Roman.
And Tommy, head over to tfltruck.com for the latest and greatest in new truck reviews.
Ciao.